If I had to start all over at 40 years old with $0, here's exactly what I would do. And to be honest with you, you should do this. Doesn't matter if you're 20, you're 30, you're 40, you're 50. If you're starting from scratch, this is what you need to be doing. And I'm talking about it from an age of 40 because guess what? At 40, that's exactly what I had to do. I did all the right things in my 20s and in my 30s. And unfortunately for me, I owned a real estate company that got our ass kicked in my late 30s in that Great Recession of 07, 8, 9 in my market. And I literally went from doing all the right things and building up this great net worth to literally $750,000 in a hole. So if you are starting at 40 or 20 or 50, I don't give a shit where you're starting. And I'm pretty positive most of you, wherever you're starting, are not $750,000 in debt. This will work, and this is what you should do. And I don't want to hear any bullshit ass excuses. I don't want to hear arguments. I don't want to hear how life is expensive and cost of living has gotten so much that it doesn't work. I don't want to hear all that. Get your mind right. Let's figure this shit out. And again, today we're talking about starting over at 40, but this will literally start at every age. The only difference is this. If you're starting off at 0 or in the negative and you're in your 40s or 50s, you're going to have to get your urgency and your shit together a lot faster than if you're someone who's starting off at 0 in your 20s. This is going to be the easiest freaking thing you ever did in your life. If you want to be financially free and you want to be worth millions and millions of dollars, then get your notepad out. Let's figure this out right now because again, you young people don't even realize that the value of the time that you have in your life is going to make you win at this game so much freaking easier than someone who might be older that never learned this stuff. And you know how I know? Because every month I sit down with a bunch of 13-year-olds and they're starting to do this. And their parents are like pissed that they were never taught this stuff. And now the parents are starting to do it. But these 13-year-olds, if they literally just put $100 a month away for the next 50 years, are going to be worth so much money. It's not even funny. And if you can't find that kind of money, if you're in your 20s or 30s, then I don't know what to tell you. So let's start. First thing you got to do is pay yourself first. If you are not going to find a way to go to a job, make an income, work for yourself, do a side hustle, whatever it is, and not skim a little money off the top to pay yourself first, you're not going to win at this game. I would like to see you do as much as you can, whether that's 10 or 20 or even 30, 40, 50%. And the younger you are, if you're living at home and you have no expenses and no overhead, even better. If you're someone in your 40s that's married with 2 kids and your expenses are crushing you, you may not be able to do as much, but your time horizon is shorter and you better figure that shit out sooner than later. So here's the thing. You have to pay yourself first. At a minimum, you got to pull 10% off the top, okay? I would prefer to see at least 20, and anyone doing more than 20, good for you. That just means you're going to get on that path a lot faster. And if you're a young person and you have like no overhead and you literally could do 50% of your income while you're still living at home, even if you can only do that for a year or 2 or 3, you will set your future up so fast, it'll make your head spin, okay? The second thing we're going to do as we're paying ourselves first is we're going to automate everything, meaning most of you who have a job, they get a paycheck that gets direct deposited into your checking account. Then from your checking account, we are going to set up automatic transfers, one into your retirement account. Or if you're someone who through your job has a 401k plan with a matching piece or something along those lines, that money's going to come out even before you get your paycheck. And it has to be automated so it comes off the top of your paycheck, or you get your paycheck and then it goes later, but you can work that out with your bank, right? Every bill I have is on automatic payment. Every dollar I make is on automatic income. And every dollar gets transferred to all the accounts that they need to go automatically because you don't have to think about it. And if you pay yourself first and you automate it, and then all you do is spend what is left over. That is the mindset shift. This way, you're not having to budget. You're not having to pay attention to every little nickel. The deal is this. I make $1. I pay myself money first off the top, and what is ever left over, I can live on that. And you can spend every dime of it if you want to because you paid yourself first and you're making your long-term plan for the future. And of course, I would love for you to have your emergency money. So that's part of this, is to have your 3 or 6 month emergency fund. But then from the rest, spend it all. Just don't spend it all plus. Meaning if you have $1, don't spend $1.50 or $1.25 or $2. Don't go in credit card debt. Don't buy cars you can't afford and you have a car loan. Don't spend money you don't have, because what you're doing, if you spend money you don't have, is you're paying for someone else's future. That credit card company, that business, that place that you bought, like if you got a freaking Target credit card, they're the ones making the interest on your money, not you. So ideally, what you're doing every time by paying yourself first is you're buying your own future freedom, your own finance. And it's funny. I was watching a podcast and I love the term. You are able to buy your future freedom. J.L. Collins talked about this in his book, A Simple Plan to Wealth. He talked about how you can buy your future freedom. I think that was a great quote, and I love it because if it is important to you to buy your future freedom to create margin in your budget and your life, or is it important to you to make some bullshit ass excuses as to why you're living paycheck to paycheck, why you're in debt, why you spend on the credit card, why you DoorDash, why you have a car you can't afford, why you're spending money you don't have on things you don't need to impress people who don't care, then you're not going to win at this game, okay? So you got to get your mindset right and you got to start living within your means, okay? So if you're doing that, paying yourself first, automating the process, and living what's on left over and not going into debt, you can't lose. You will win this because what's going to happen is compound interest over time will win for you. And if you ever go look at a compound interest calculator, here's the hard part with this. This is why people struggle with this so much is it's slow, right? To go from 0 to 100,000 takes a long time. And the amount of compound interest that is accrued on small amounts of money feels small. One of my 13-year-olds put $500 in his account. He got interest right away. It was 86 cents. Yeah, what's 86 cents? But if he keeps doing that and that 86 cents someday, that $500 is 5,000 or 500,000 or 5 million, the interest on that becomes so exponential that you're making money while you sleep that is enough to live your life. You don't even need a freaking job anymore. That's where we're trying to get to, okay? So you have to set these things up, okay? Compound interest, it's kind of the same thing like on a mortgage. I think residential real estate's a great thing that you should own, but if you go look at a 30-year mortgage, payment number one is a hell of a lot more towards interest than principal. And it works the same way. Your compounding is slow, 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 slow. And then all of a sudden it skyrockets and goes crazy. And if you've never been to a retirement calculator or an investment calculator or a mortgage calculator and understanding how these numbers work, you got to go study it. You got to go look at it. And if you have questions about it, reach out to me because that is how much it should be. So how much should I do? Ideally, at a minimum 10% off the top. I would love for you to do 20, but if you can do more, do more. Now, use some of the vehicles I want to talk about, okay? Use tax advantage accounts. So what does tax advantage accounts mean, okay? If you work at a company that offers a 401k plan, that means you make $1 and you put money in the 401k plan before you pay tax on that $1. You should do that. And if your company has a matching program, you should max out what the matching program is. So if you put in $1 and they're going to give you another $1, or if you put in $1,000 and they're going to give you $1,000, that's 100% return on your money. You have to do that. Take it and max it out, okay? From there, if you want to then do a Roth IRA, which is I make $1, I pay the tax on the $1, so maybe I have 70 cents left over, and I put my 70 cents in the Roth IRA, you should do both. And the reason why I like both is this, is the money that grows in the Roth IRA is going to be withdrawn at the end of your life toward when you're retired and you don't pay tax on it. Where the 401k money, because you didn't pay tax on it, but you're hopefully getting 100% return match from your company, that money can accrue. And when you withdraw it down the road, you're going to pay tax on it. But I feel like you should do both. And again, if I make the numbers round and easy, and let's just use $100,000 and we're trying to do 20% off the top, if you're doing some in a 401k and some in a Roth IRA, I want you to get to $20,000 at some point. So if some goes in a Roth, some goes in a 401k, some goes into non-retirement accounts in your brokerage account, great. But we would want to pull $20,000 off the top if you were taking home $100,000. If you make 50 grand, then you want to take $10,000 off the top and put them in all these vehicles and then live on the 40. And then you don't have to budget. Just make sure you're not spending more than 40, okay? Now, an emergency fund. You have to build up an emergency fund so when an actual real emergency happens, you have money there. You get laid off work. Your car needs 4 tires because that's how you get to work. Whatever it might be, 3 months minimum, 6 months suggested. I am crazy. I like 12 months. That's me. Everybody has their own choice. Everybody does their own thing, but you got to have an emergency fund built up. And if you have debts, because this is the one where we struggle with the most, right? I talk to people and they're like, I got credit cards and car loans and this, that, and the other. Some of this shit you might have to sell and get less nice. Some things you're going to have to figure out how I can aggressively pay down the debts ASAP. Because I will tell you this, okay? And I have to look out the window because I'm going to lose my shit on it, is this. You listen closely. I'm holding your face right now. Lock in. You can never get ahead financially and become financially free and get to a position where you're happy with your finances if you have shitty, crappy consumer debt. And what is that? Those are debts for things that do not go up in value, okay? Credit cards, medical bills, student loans, buy now, pay later, payday loans, personal loans, bad car loans for a car you can't afford. Anything where you have all these freaking payments, because here's the deal. If you can get rid of all these payments, it is amazing what your finances and your budget will look like. And then what happens is that if, again, go back to what I'm talking about. If you are able to automate, pay yourself first and live on what's left over, you can spend every nickel that's left over because you actually have the money. And then if you can afford the freaking car, you can buy the freaking car. But if you can't afford the car, then you got no money. So then go buy something less nice. You got to figure out something left to do, okay? Now, home ownership, okay? Primary residence. I did a bunch of videos on this, people arguing back and forth about I should rent, I should own. Here's the deal. The average homeowner is roughly 35, 38, 40, 42 times wealthier than a renter. You can pull up the stat. The number's a little fluctuating all over the board, but let's just say it's 40 times. Buying a house to live in is part of your wealth building strategy. Now, sometimes in the short term, you have to rent, and I get it. So in the short term, if you're renting, I'm not shitting on you. I don't want you to feel terrible. There's times in life where renting makes sense, but not as a long-term wealth building strategy. So you got to figure out how to own property. And if you don't have a good realtor, a good lender, a good CPA, a good attorney, a good person to do wills and trusts, a good insurance agent, you need a good property manager, a good bank lender. You need all these tools in your tool belt. If you do not have them, reach out to me. I know great, amazing realtors all over America that have these people in their toolkits that you can get referred to that can help you do this. And you have to do it now. Not tomorrow, not next week, not never. If you want to get to the point of financially free and get to the point where you now are living a life that you want to live, financially speaking, then you have to do this now, okay? There's no waiting. And I don't want to hear excuses. The economy, the market, homes cost too much. You know what I've known is this. If I look at people's, last 3 to 6 months of what, their bank statements, their credit card statements, where their money is going, most of you would be embarrassed to know what you're spending money on, how much you're spending money on, and where your money is actually going. Because most people, you don't have an income problem. You have a spending and lack of financial literacy problem. And you know what's so crazy is I tell people this all the time. It is not that hard. It is not that complicated. And if you're not sure how to open a brokerage account or where to invest or how your 401k works or what to do, there's literally just a handful of things, you guys, just a handful. It is not hard. It is simple to do this and set up. Now, is it hard because to be disciplined is difficult? Yeah. But we're not trying to set up discipline. We're trying to set up this easy path of I make it, I pay myself first, I have no debt, my savings and investing in my home ownership is all happening, I live on the rest, I don't go in debt. Done. That is it. That is all you got to freaking do, okay? So if you want to know how to do this, reach out to me. If I get enough of you guys following along, I will do classes, courses. I'm not doing this to make money on this. I'm doing this in order to help other people because I'm watching in my real estate business so many people struggle financially. And at the end of the day, with some easy, small, simple steps, you can do it. It is not that freaking hard. So get your mind right, start following along, reach out with questions, and I'll talk to you soon.